Looks like we're ready to go here. Zoom's good. Jennifer's on. We're recording, so I'd like to call the November 18th, 2021 LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jennifer, you hear us?
I can hear you.
Great. All right, well, let's start a roll call. If you would, please.
Okay. Mitch Bishop.
Here?
Sorry, I'm looking at my stuff here. Jerry Jackson.
Not here.
Okay. John Carr.
Here.
Mark Danielson.
Present.
Marcella Kunstick.
Here.
Amanda Laners.
Here.
Delia Gigas.
Present.
Okay, so everyone's there except Jerry.
Correct.
Okay.
We have a quorum. Moving on, the approval of the October 21st meeting minutes. Everybody received a copy from Jennifer through email. Any questions regarding the minutes? If not, I entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, second by John Carr. Motion by Marcel. Second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That brings us to public comments. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, please state your name, your address for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes.
My name is Gary Ratke with Ratke Engineering, Spain, 5821 North US 35, LaPorte, Indiana. I'm just here to bring
Can you
you
speak up a little bit, Gary? She's having a hard time speaking to the mic.
Is the mic on?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
press the mic.
Is the green button?
Green button. There's a green light.
It's on now.
All right.
Okay.
Speak it to the mic, please.
Okay. I'm just here to let you know where we are with the turnover of the US Highway 20 sewer system from the school district. We have now completed phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 2 testing report was filed with all 4 organizations, and it was a very extensive testing process that we did. We ended up after replacing 3 air release valves and repair a major valve in the system. This we did with a contractor. We ended up working 3 Sundays to do the testing because the volume of the sewage from the school is so intense that we had to do it actually on a Sunday. And one of the problems why we had to do it 3 times to get it passed was basically that when we did the project 12 years ago, the school did not allow us to do a record drawings at the time, and we did not know where the laterals were being installed in the system from the school, and that's what screwed everything up for the 2 tests. Once we determined where everything was okay, we got it approved. So now we're working on the phase 3. The phase 3 is a cost recovery system. Basically what it entails is getting the school and Eastside Fresh Meat and Produce to accept the dollar amount and certify the dollar amount that they have invested in this project. We're into doing this now. We submitted to both organizations what we believe is would be the certified costs for doing the project. We just need their approval. I think the word "just" might be a little bit exaggerated. And we also are submitting to NDOT and IDEM request so that they change the ownership of the sewer to Michigan City Sanitary District. At this point, we might be done in December, which would be fabulous, for to say the least. And something, possibly it'll be the January meeting. Basically, what the fourth step is getting all the paperwork done. So hopefully that'll be good. If there's any questions, thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Georgette Joyce from Hudson Lake, 7299 East Hudson Point Lane, New Carlisle. I've been on the lake for 23 years, and I'm just trying to keep track of where we're at with the sewer project. And, there's a lot of challenged septics in the area, extremely challenged, and I just want to protect the lake and our water that we get for free now. And just encouraging the board to please continue to pursue the project and trying to figure out where we are with the grants and so forth. This mic is high. I'm on my tiptoes.
It does move.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? If not, anybody online or on Zoom? See nobody? Public comments closed. Then we go to reports. Mr. Carter, claims and finance, please.
So for the month of October, you should have in your packet financials, starting with Rolling Prairie. Receipts for the month of October were $3,853. Disbursements of $7,170. Ending cash balance, $35,616.95. All that contained in the operating fund held at Horizon Bank. For the toll road, receipts for the month were $26,960, disbursements $23,884, a little bit of interest income, ending balance $398,147.10. Of that amount, $147,310.48 is held in the Horizon checking account, which is the operation and maintenance fund, and the balance of $250,836.62 in the Hoosier fund, which is your improvement fund.
Yeah.
Claims for consideration, $38,169.54. The only question that I had on the claims, and I'm not sure, I was hoping Jerry would be here to be able to ask this question. There was an invoice from last year, middle of last year, from Mission Communication, and it appears to be, from what I can see on the invoice, electronics, maybe a SCADA type system on your lift stations and the maintenance of that hardware and software. But I have not seen a bill for this year. I'm not really sure.
Is it? Yeah. You said it's from last year?
Yeah, it was from June 8th of last year, and they're saying it's past due, and neither Jennifer and I were aware of it, seen it, and I'm honestly not even sure what the bill is for.
Well, since it's over a year old, I don't find a need to pay that right away. Maybe we could look into that and put it up for next month.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I
That's
said, I was
another
hoping Jerry maybe would be here to be able to answer that quickly, but
Yeah.
Steve, that's an invoice from who?
Mission Communications.
I don't know.
I can read. Let me find the invoice here. They are out of Norcross, Georgia, but the description is there's two different line items. One is service package, AIM-800 series, 1 year, non-ship. There's two of those line items. One is for the Hatfield lift station. The other is for the 350 East lift station. Service start date of July 1st of 2020. Service end date of 6/30/2021. And like I say, I have not seen one for 2021, and I had not seen this one until this month.
Yeah, I'd be in favor, of putting that off and getting more information. I mean, it looks like they already waited over a year. And I don't really like people that bill us a year after they do their service anyway.
And,
Technically,
and just so I understand, we just received that?
Well, we received it, I think, from Julie Davis, didn't we? Because it went through there,
okay.
the county, to Tony's office, obviously, because they didn't have ours. So and it was marked past due, so I don't know if it got lost, with the transition either.
Jennifer or Steve, whoever has the invoice, I might suggest that you scan it and email it to the board, and that way Jerry will see it, and
I believe it was in their
Oh.
packets.
you do
Yeah,
that.
it was in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we have to ask more questions on that. I think we cleared up quickly, but
But I mean, you can certainly, whoever moves to pay the claims can move it except for that claim.
right.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
so
what I was planning.
that revised amount then would be $37,042.74 without that invoice.
Yeah, I mean, I'd entertain an invoice for that amount.
So move.
Got a motion. I hear a second. Second by Amanda. Mark, motion. All those in favor? Signify by aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thanks, Steve. And we'll figure out the other one next month.
So somebody's gonna call Jerry and then see what he says, or who's gonna do what?
Yeah, I'll take care of it, Mark.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Moving on then, Ashbury. In person.
In
yeah.
person.
How you
Good
doing?
morning.
Everything, Chris Vogler with Asbury Water Technology. Everything is well at the waste treatment plant and the water plant, with a couple exceptions. The wastewater flow meter has been calibrated recently, and that will be in the packet for next month. That was just done this week. And I received an email from the ITR, the former operator, Matthew McLaughlin or something, and he claims that JPR and another engineering company came out and did some cammering of the sewer lines, and says that there is a plug in one of the sewer lines that is on the inside of the fence of the lift station, which they claim is not their issues. Will be sewer district's issue. So, but I haven't. I just got that email earlier this week, and I haven't seen an official report or.
Oh, so someone from JPR.
It was from the ITR.
Oh, ITR.
Right. So, but they were working with JPR.
They did the camera
doing
work.
Yeah, doing
Oh.
the camera work. So.
Well, maybe Dan or somebody knows more about that.
Yeah, that was Josh Wyman from our office who's doing the work on the asset management plan. He was working with R&R Visual cammering those sewer lines. He just let me know about it this morning, actually. But I'm not even sure of what manhole it is. I'd have to get with him to get a little more information on it.
Okay.
As far as the way he describes it is going to be right next to the lift station.
Yeah, that's what Josh said.
Yeah, by the waste treatment plant, and that would involve maybe cleaning the lift station. Get Jerry Jackson's people out there with their vac truck, and I think they also have a jetter that they could use to clean it. So, anyways, I'm just passing that information on.
So it's impeding the flow then?
That's
marginal?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Something like this happened. I believe something like this happened a couple years ago, and I actually didn't see flow from a waste stream for 2 or 3 weeks, and then saw it all at once.
Oh.
And then that clog also impeded the lift station from working properly. We had to pull pumps and clean out the lift station twice
Oh.
to get it. So hopefully that we don't have that same kind of issue.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that definitely, and have to take care of it, and we'll get with Jerry or whatever has to be done.
Right. Well, I just don't know. we haven't got any kind of
Right.
official report.
Got
I just got an email saying that shows a plug. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
So, want to pass it on.
All right. When we find out more, let us know, and we'll
Okay.
take care of.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Moving on to JPR. You have anything for us, Jennifer?
No, nothing more than what was already in my report. We had, I think, one account pay that was in arrears on the collections side. Other than that, just moving forward with the accounts.
Okay.
And full billing for December will go for all of the phase 2 property owners.
Right. How did the I know you were out at the sewer plant. How did that go?
Yeah, we
How many
did
people
not have a lot of turnout for those. I'm assuming probably just because contractors and different stuff just weren't out. I thought there was a rush by the sounds of people and calls I was getting, but we did not have a lot of people come out. We had actually one person come out and get a packet and one person come out and sign up. I won't be there this Saturday. The inspector will be, and I've had a few people call and say they're going to come out and sign up. So I guess we'll see. I just have been answering phone calls on and off. I just had a message this morning that I'll return after this meeting that said they were, their contractor told them they would have to wait till spring now because of the weather. But, that's by choice, I'm guessing, because other contractors are going to start connecting. So again, that's not going to give them there's not a reason right now not to be connecting. Other contractors are connecting, so I can't say that that's okay when other contractors are working out there. That's just his preference not to do it now. So I don't know. That will be after the 6 months. We'll have to look at that and see how bad the weather has really been.
Right. Might have to revise that depending upon the weather, possibly.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, have a good vacation.
Thanks.
All right. Moving on then. Dan, you're up again.
Yeah, you guys all hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So back at the beginning of November, we finally had a successful pump startup on all of the grinders and the little sanitary package pump stations we have in Rolling Prairie. Following those startups, we looked at flow testing information. Those stations are all running exactly where I expected them to. So we were able to issue substantial completion on November 4th. That being said, I believe, Mitch, I forwarded the form to you, but I don't think I've seen the signed form yet. Did you have any questions, or were you holding off for some reason?
No, I'm not. I'll get it to you today. Sorry.
No,
I did
no
review
problem.
it, but I reviewed it. I
Yeah.
just didn't give you the signed copy. I'm sorry.
Yep. Again, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Included with that substantial completion form was the final punch list, which I drafted a preliminary punch list months ago that had a pretty substantial amount of items on it for Woodruff to finish up, and they whittled that list down to 3 items. So the only items remaining on the punch list at the time of substantial completion signing was providing the district with a copy of the as-built drawings. We haven't seen any record as-built drawings yet. And then we had 2 small areas of pavement patching that needed to be fixed up. One of them is on Poplar Street, where they put the sewer extension in. There's some what our contractors call it pumpkin teeth pavement cuts in the pavement there. They're gonna just extend the pavement cut and clean it up so it doesn't look like a jack-o'-lantern through there. And additionally, up at Rolling and Meadowlark Drive, I believe, in the subdivision in the northwest portion of town, there was a pavement patch that they patched over a service line crossing the road, and it's just sort of a rough pavement patch. It's it's got a pretty good sized bump in it, and they can get out there and smooth it out in the course of a couple hours and get it fixed up. So those are the 3 items left on the list I wanted to see done. So they will have until December 4th to complete those items in order to be eligible for final release of retainage and final payment. I am expecting that final pay app to come through in the December meeting. For your information, that pay app amount is going to be $341,120.95, and that would be the remaining pay, because there's some work that's been completed that they haven't billed for yet, that they've had done for a while. They've just kind of been sitting on it, in addition to the retainage. So that kind of leads me on into the next item here. Was going to discuss remaining funds in the contract and how we want to kind of pursue that. I started taking a quick look at roughly what we've got left, and just ballpark estimates, we're looking at about 120,000 left over in remaining funds. Now that amount is subject to change. Again, that's just kind of a rough number. I looked at the savings we had during construction, the construction contingency that essentially went unused, but there were also some cost overruns as a result of the appeal and things like that. So I'm going to have to get with Sender and verify those dollar amounts on everything prior to giving you guys the sort of a final number. But that 120,000 number we can kind of run with for the time being as far as budgeting what we want to do with it. I know that in the past we talked about wanting to do some sort of improvements at the treatment plant building there at the Travel Plaza. I didn't know if anyone here had any sort of idea what improvements you wanted to have done, or what I could do is I could have one or two of our architects come out there and take a look at the building, given our budget, and give some ideas of what they think that could be done for that price. I don't know who all here would want to kind of sit in on that meeting if we were to hold it, but that's an option. I know in the past Jerry has talked about wanting to interconnect his gen sets into SCADA and things like that, which those would be pretty minor items. But what about that sort of site visit at the treatment plant building in order to assess improvements? Does that sound like something that you guys think would be a good idea?
Yeah, Dan, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
If our end goal is to have meetings, not here in the county,
Right.
building, and actually at our district, or potentially our district little office, I think it's a change of use, and so we need to be able to accommodate the public. So I think it'd be wise to at least look at it and make sure that we have no ADA issues or anything like that, or
Yeah.
make sure the building's accessible and enough parking and everything else that we might need. So
Didn't we talk about having solar installed there? I mean, would this be
Yeah, there
kind of
was-
part of it?
yeah, there was that was and Barry, you might have remember. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time. Let's put it that way. A lot of moons have come and gone. Many days, and
I don't remember where, since we got involved in the Rolling Prairie project in earnest, I think that kind of went by the wayside. And I remember, I think the last time we met, we were still meeting completely by Zoom
right.
to give you a time frame, but I don't know where we left it or what the cost versus the benefit was there, but
Maybe it was.
I would think Jennifer
Yeah,
would
that's right,
probably have
Jennifer.
somewhere in her records.
That cost, what we have left doesn't even come close to what the cost of that solar,
Yeah, I thought it was expensive.
we don't even come close to putting a dent in what those solar costs were. And they were gonna give us another presentation at some point, but we haven't gotten back with them.
Right, I did do a
Because we
analysis.
got into the Rolling Prairie
Now-
phase 2, and so we kind of been tabled it.
I remember I did a benefit cost analysis on that, and it was not good. And then I think I said, let's shut this down. I'm jogging my memory as I speak. And I said, let's shut this down and work, get Rolling Prairie and focus there. I think I don't think it was advantageous looking at the benefit cost analysis of what was given to me and the board at the time.
And I don't recall, I assume that wasn't just to power the building, right? That was more about potentially powering the system, I presume,
Right,
given the numbers involved?
I believe so.
Which is not to say that I suppose there couldn't be some modest system that would provide electricity for the building, for an office, as opposed to
Then-
what I presume was hundreds of thousands of dollars to provide
Yeah.
some type of,
Some kind of net metering where we
Yeah.
would sell it back for, we produce so much of a unit and we sell back so much. It used to be
Right.
1-to-1. That's not a problem. Now you produce one and they give you a credit for a fourth of what you produce. So that's another reason why it's unless you go a huge scale, then you could do something. We're not a solar farm. We're not a solar farm though, in other words. So.
What exactly was studied? Was it like a field of solar panels, or similar to what LaPorte has at the wastewater plant, or was that what it was?
Yeah, we had like an extra, 5, I don't know how many acres the total site is, 20. And I think it was like 3 to 5 of that would be dedicated
Okay.
to solar panels.
I have a copy of it, Dan, I can get it to you.
All right, because I was going to say, for a more modest alternative, we could actually look at it as part of Hudson-Saguenay. Because, one of the alternatives for Hudson-Saguenay would be a plant expansion. And I was thinking, if you could roof mount panels on top of the overhang structure at the plant. I don't know how many you'd need, but just a quick thought.
Serve our needs only. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
or some of the needs.
Put a dent in your bill anyway.
Yeah. Maybe that could be something engineers and architects look at as well when they come and look at the footprint of the building and the space. Maybe that's something.
Well, and that would almost certainly count as a green project reserve credit in an SRF application scenario,
Right.
which would give you more favorable scoring.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I would,
Dan, I can give you, I have, on my, on the server, I have the initial information that we received, so I can
Okay,
shoot that over to you, so you can take a look at all of it.
awesome.
the other thing was, I know Jerry's not here, so Jerry Jackson, but I think it would probably make a phone call to him and get some of his input, and then if there's any
Yeah.
questions, bring it back. I'm not talking about the solar panel, but for any of his ideas, or to give Dan to give us a list that we can work by.
What do you, for the rest of the funds, are you talking about, Mark?
Sure.
Yeah, and the, SCADA system and the generator stuff was Jerry's, that's what he
Okay.
wanted, and Dan, that's
I
what Dan
thought there was some
mentioned
more,
too.
that's why I was saying, so just as long as he has a conversation with Jerry, I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah, those two have been working close together.
Okay.
I speak to him weekly too
Okay.
about different things.
All right.
Anything else, Dan? You would like to share?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
Although, hang on, let me look at the agenda. Looks like Hudson-Saguenay, we're going to cover an old business unless you want me to cover it now.
I'm okay with that. The board's okay. Go
Sure.
ahead, Dan.
Okay. So, well, actually, before I get into that, I'll update you on the asset management plan. We are currently working on collecting information on the system. As I mentioned earlier, we've contracted with R&R Visual to do some cammering of the sewers at the travel plaza to assess their condition and move forward. We should be having a draft asset management plan by sometime around the beginning of December, and should be ready to present it at the draft plan at the December meeting. Also, with PER for Hudson-Saguenay Lake, we had to kind of go back to the drawing board on a few things early on regarding some force main routes and things like that. So we've sort of had to change up our figures and everything involving the design of the proposed design of the Hudson Saugony project. So that being said, we'll have a draft ready by the December meeting of the updated plan, ready for basically ready to be submitted to SRF. So
Great.
that's where we're at there.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Yep.
you.
And I'll get you that substantial completion letter.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
All right, moving on then. We're under new business. We have the use ordinance. Last month, I believe you went through the second reading. Of
First
the use
reading.
Yeah, we're here for the second and third and final.
Well, yeah, we had the first reading. We've now published notice, and so you'd want to have a second reading,
Right.
and then if the board votes to approve the third reading in the same day, you can do that, and that would be your final approval of the sewer use ordinance today.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd like to open up, I guess, the public hearing for the second reading of the LaPorte County Sewer and Water District Use Ordinance for Rolling Prairie, or for the whole district. I'm sorry. Any questions regarding the ordinance from the public or the board, or any comments? I know it's been circulated for last 3 months or so, multiple drafts, and I think Jerry's reviewed it. I looked at it, made a couple suggestions, and nothing. I mean, something the board needs, and we need to get it approved. So I'd entertain.
I move to go to third reading.
Okay.
I think we need to have a second. We haven't actually read it the
Yeah.
second
Hasn't
time
read it?
yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
that's
want me
title.
to- you want to read the title only?
Yeah, unless there's an objection, you could go ahead and read it by title only.
Okay. Yeah, just ordinance, second reading, ordinance number 2021-01, LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Sewer Use Ordinance dated October 21st, 2021. Now,
No, so I'd like to move to third reading.
I would probably take a vote
Take a vote
on
on
the
second
third
reading.
reading, not on the second reading.
Not
I'm
on
just
third
carrying that
All
forward.
right.
Someone has to second it.
yeah, all right. I hear a motion for a third
Is
reading.
this-
I second.
Second from Amanda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Don't we have to read the names off for a vote like we have in the past?
No, because there's no one participating via Zoom.
Yeah.
Jennifer's
She's
not a board member.
Got it. Never mind. Thank you, sir.
You got it. Good question though, Mark, for keeping us honest.
Yeah. Roll call now.
Yeah.
All right. So the third was approved. So now.
So now you can just read it by title only, third reading, and then any questions, and then if not, you can take your vote.
All right. Ordinance number 2021-01, third reading of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Sewer Use Ordinance dated October 21st, 2021. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sewer use ordinance is passed.
Great.
Yay.
All right.
And you may want to circulate that around. I mean,
We gotta
when
sign
it comes to ordinances, we actually do want at least one hard copy with everybody's signatures, and so
Right. So yeah.
maybe Jerry
So
can
say-
swing by the office, or maybe you can have it in your
Yeah,
office.
I got it right
Mitch.
here.
Okay.
I'll circulate this right now.
Okay.
Jennifer,
Yes,
question, are all of our ordinances adopted on the website now?
I believe so. I just need to get that last one and had Delia sign last meeting, and then I'll need this one.
Okay.
All right, it's being signed now, Jennifer. It's going around.
Okay, we'll just need Jerry's signature, and then we'll take down the other one that says draft and put this up with the signatures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, moving on under new business. Update on MOU between Michigan City Sanitary and ourselves regarding rental payments.
I really don't have any update. I've not heard a word from Jim, and I'm not sure if Mitch, are you on the economic development?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not on the board, but I did attend the redevelopment commission. This met yesterday at 4 o'clock, and that oddly enough was brought up by
Okay.
President Novak, and he said, "How could the sewer board, basically receive funding from Michigan City Sanitary? You have no money into it." So I was like,
Well-
it's our my I guess
Well,
my response was that it is in our jurisdiction, and this is done by other districts, and this isn't unique to us, and we're a fledgling district, and we're trying to make money, obviously, and Michigan City, of course, is getting all the O&M costs. The county would be getting the property taxes, and technically it's in our district boundary.
well,
And
and
we have every right to negotiate that.
right, and I mean, as we've stated before, we cannot charge a fee if we do not provide services. But the right-of-way, the easements that are going to be needed for the project are going to be within our jurisdiction. And so essentially we would, whether you want to call it, do a license agreement, a lease agreement, whatever the legal mechanism that Jim Meyer and I could haggle out, it's basically our allowing the Michigan City Sanitary District to come into our jurisdiction and operate their system, and they would then charge their own fee. So, I mean, we're not really charging them a fee. It would be some probably modest fee. I would hope that
Yeah,
greater minds than I would figure out, is that based on EDU? Is that based on a per user? I would need some maybe guidance on what other districts do, maybe.
it's not used too often, but I guess my question was, and I was perplexed by it, a dollar number came up,
Oh,
40,000. I don't know.
you mean
How?
one time or per? I will tell you that Jim and I have never discussed a number
Yeah.
because we didn't know what the numbers of the project were or
Yeah.
their rates were going to be.
I
So
was shaking my head. I didn't know how to respond.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad that they're discussing a
Nothing has
number,
been signed.
but
Nothing
that's news to me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Me too. But I just wanted to share that. I saw it was on the agenda, so it's fresh in my mind. Okay, we'll just continue to work on that.
Okay.
As far as that project,
Yeah, have they? Where are they in the status
yeah.
of the project?
so there is, obviously it's in a TIF district. Loves, they're going to run TIF bonds to pay for a portion of that. We rebid that project just 2 weeks ago, a month ago. DNM excavating one, they were like 4.9 million, which was an increase of like 800,000 from the first bid. Yeah, 18 months earlier. So I believe, Carl Sender's working, and we're working on how much, there's a gap between what we can bond in that area, and the gap I think is around 2 to 2.5 million. And the gap's going to be filled partially by ARP funds. And so that's being sent from the commissioners to the council, and that's one of the projects listed on that list, is to fill that gap. Because Love's wants to start construction, and not only Love's, but there's also a distribution warehousing just north of Love's site. I forget how much estimated property tax dollars we're talking, but substantial. And Love's wants to break ground in spring of this year, and they have a 7 to 8 month construction time, and they want to open by January 1st of 2023. So that means we got to have shovels in the ground because we're pretty much, it's a 6-7 month project. So we have to be basically concurrent with them, sequential with them, whatever.
Did you guys award yesterday?
We did not award because we still working on that gap.
Okay,
And the bid is being held for 120 days too.
okay.
So we have to the end of February of next year to actually award it. So I guess that's a quick snippet. That's where it is. And I think it's a high priority, I know, for the redevelopment commission. And I'm sensing 3 members of the redevelopment commission are also on the county council. So you'll need 1 more vote. I think there's 7 to get a quorum. So hopefully it works out, and we signed a contract, and it's nice too because D&M, his office is on 300 North.
Yeah.
So his MOB cost should be pretty pretty low. Yeah. No. But that's a quick snippet. Moving on then. Insurance. So that is
I can talk about that if you'd like.
Hey, go ahead.
At the last meeting, the board kind of authorized, from my recollection, the executive committee to kind of look into the issue really of a competitive bid for the general liability and officers and directors coverage, as well as to discuss the issue of whether this environmental coverage, which was what kind of really precipitated the discussion, was we were paying around $5,000 a year, and I think that no one, Jerry, Jennifer, Ken, everybody who's kind of, and I think Steve, everybody who brushes up against other sewer districts, was somewhat perplexed because nobody else carried that coverage. So that led me to reach out to the only other person that bid back in the day, which was Michiana Insurance, which is a local insurance company that already has a relationship with the county, writes insurance for the county already. And John Jones with Michiana Insurance was able to come back, a lot of back and forth. Jennifer put in a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, he found a carrier that somewhat specialized in sanitary districts and regional sewer districts. And although initially they came back and gave the same story that our current provider had, which is we won't give you general liability without environmental coverage, which is what we heard, by the way, from both of them originally. So they were, two different companies were consistent. At the end, they changed their mind and said, no, we are willing to write just general liability and officers and directors coverage without the environmental. So I kind of took a quick poll of the executive board, which is John and Marcella and Mitch. Their opinion was twofold. A, let's not have environmental coverage at the moment. We'll be okay without it, which is a savings of about $5,000 a year. And secondly, to switch carriers to Bliss McKnight, which is the carrier, and Michiana Insurance would be the local company. And the savings is pretty significant. We get our current policy when you add, and we're not talking about the environmental, but currently we pay, I believe, about $13,000-ish for both D&O coverage and general liability. The new number, which is an all-inclusive, it has all the coverage, is $9,000 and change. So about a $4,000 a year savings, which is very significant. And honestly,
I actually called 2 districts as well and asked if they had coverage, environmental pollution coverage. None of them did.
Yeah.
No. St. Joe was one I called in Twin Lakes, south of here. Neither of them had. So I was kind of perplexed as why. Yeah. Same thing came as you stated.
Right.
Jennifer and JPR.
I mean, obviously, you should never ask an insurance guy or a lawyer. They're always going to say have as much insurance as you can have. But I mean, as a practical matter, if we're the lone wolf out there, the only one writing that check for $5,000 a year, it seems a little odd. And the other districts that don't have it are significantly bigger and would have theoretically more environmental risk because they have a bigger system. So what we would need is, I think, a board vote to ratify the decision of the executive committee, which is to basically switch carriers and to drop the environmental coverage.
I move that we switch insurance carriers and drop environmental coverage.
I have a motion. Here, a second.
Second?
Second from Marcella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you. And then Jennifer, I'm not sure what exactly Michiana needs at this point, whether they need us.
I took care of it.
Great. Mitch has it under control.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's all taken care of. I
Awesome.
think we'll just send us a bill now, and that's what we'll have to finish and pay, and we're done.
Yep.
Great.
Took care of it. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next meeting, December 15th, 9 a.m.
It's a Wednesday, just so you know.
Oh, it is a Wednesday? Oh.
I will not be available, just so you guys
But-
know for a
Will you
forum.
be available the 16th though?
No,
Okay, because the 15th is a Wednesday.
No. sorry.
All right, that's fine.
So are we talking the 16th, just so the public knows? I mean, a normal Thursday meeting, I would think.
Yeah, I think maybe.
You know what I do, put the wrong date?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you put the 15th, which is a Wednesday. Dahlia caught it. Should be the
Oops,
16th.
sorry, that should be the 16th then.
Yeah.
What date are you talking about?
The 16th,
Which is
Thursday.
Third Thursday,
Okay.
16th. 9 a.m.
Other than Marcy, is there anybody that can't attend? We want to make sure we have a quorum if we're going to have a meeting.
You be good? I'm on vacation because I have to take 20 days or lose them, but I come in for that. We're good.
Okay.
All right. So we have at least 5 here,
Yeah.
so that we should be good.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Old business. No, we took care of that. I have a motion for adjournment.
I make the motion.
2 seconds. All in favor? Aye. Hey, have a good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.